I,
I,
Pajibo,
Pajibo,
do promise
that
my testimony that I have come to give
to the TRC of Liberia
is the truth
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you.
Mr. Witness, we want to say welcome and thanks for coming.
Thank you.
We appreciate it very much that you could take time off to come and share your experience with the TRC.
Thank you.
The goal of the TRC is to eventually establish lasting peace and national reconciliation in Liberia so that things of insecurity and disunity will be matters of the past.
Thank you.
Okay. I will introduce commissioners here present
Thank you.
and then ask you a couple of questions, following which then you will give your testimony.
Thanks.
At the immediate left is Commissioner Gerald Coleman.
Thank you.
Next to him is Commissioner Dele Dolupe. We have Commissioner John Stewart,
Yeah, but
Unu Sila, and of course, I'm Jerome Fourier.
yeah.
Thank you very much again.
You're welcome.
Can you kindly repeat your name for the records?
I'm Pajibo Kyne.
Which state do you reside?
Rhode Island.
When did you migrate to the U.S.?
1994.
What's your occupation?
I'm a statesman, a churchman, an educator, a clinician. God has blessed me and I am going forth.
You say clinician?
Yeah, clinician. Clinical psychology. Yeah.
Your date of birth, please.
July 27, 1965.
Okay. With that brief introduction, you can proceed now with the testimony.
Thank you very kindly, Brother Chair. I'm glad to be in the state of Minnesota, to be exact, the state of St. Paul, and to be a part, not simply of history, but a part of an entity that is focused towards the healing process of the nation Liberia. Prior to coming to the United States of America, I was a student at Charlotte Toddler, where I graduated from, student of the Baptist College. And while in the United States, I attended Springfield College and also the Harvard University / Bethesda Medical Center, clinical site in collaboration with Harvard University. I worked with various organizations in the United States, and presently I also serve as the co-chair on the TRC in Providence, Rhode Island. My experience during the Liberian crisis was that I had much faith in the government of the United States. When the crisis began, at the time I worked at the Ministry of Education, of the Republic of Liberia as Director for Non-Governmental Programs. And so I was in the position to have gotten some food for my household, as well as friends that I believe were going to come over at my house for some food and some security. But in the wake of that, we noticed that it was not possible for us to have remained home in Brewerville. And so we went at a place in Brewerville that is known as the Voice of America compound. And I took my family over simply because the United States Marine had a unique presence that I believe would have aided us in many ways. To amazement, we're at VOA along with some 20 to 30,000 persons. The American Marines began to airlift themselves and they began to leave. And we saw them leaving. When that occurred, hope went away. Immediately when that happened, I saw tens of persons, fighters, moving into our temporary refuge site in Brewerville. And for the very, very, very first time, I continue to say, if any one of those persons has simply said, "How are you? How are you doing?" I would have died because of the fact that I had saw them coming in. And so I was trying to remove a kind of tarpaulin that I had on top of our makeshift dwelling. And I turned to my wife, trembling. My knees were hitting together. Wow. Just, I'm telling you, to have seen that happening. And then as I looked, the Marines were leaving. Thousands of persons at the mercy of those fighters. When we left, according to information received, hundreds of civilians were massacred at VOA. Hundreds. We went home. I went home along with my family, and friends and relatives that were present around the VO8 area went along with us home. All the food that we had stored up for ourselves, the food had to be shared until we ourselves went out of every little drop of food anyone can think about. We began to starve along with those that we took home to assist. My two sons literally were dying from malnutrition. What I had to do was to go around and dig up the palm trees, the little palm trees, to get the cabbages from within them. And that's how we survived. Excluding that, I had to literally hit the palm trees to get the young seeds out, crack them, and eat. And we were slowly dying until ecomog arrived and developed a kind or established a barricade between civilians and fighters. Why did I do? In the midst of the tension, the only remedy that I was left with was to dress my little boys and send them at ecomog's base to beg for food when we couldn't survive any longer. In the midst of the tension with firing going all over, they would go at the base and eat, and they will return with food in plastic bags or papers or leaves for us, the parents, to eat because we couldn't get out. And I cried because it was the only solution left with for their survival and ours. Prior to that, when all the palm trees in the area went out of reach, there were mango trees in the community, and the mango trees were visited. So I took my two little sons, and we walked towards the trees, not knowing there was an ambush in that area already. And we were caught up in the ambush. We were arrested. I was stripped naked. My sons also, they were little babies. And then the younger one began to cry. And then a rebel soldier turned to him and said, "If you continue to cry, we will kill you before we kill your father." Why, in the midst of such, I would like to borrow the word from nightmare, Charles Taylor attacked that area, loosening the other group from the focus from us. They had to run and get prepared. One of the fighters then there turned to me and said, "You get out of here, you get out here." And then in an exchange of gunfires, I began to run with my sons. How we left in the exchange, God is the only one who knows. Because you could feel, you could hear the sound of those bullets. Wing! I'm telling you, you could feel the heat. And I left with those kids. Up to now, I tell folks I have testimonies. And if anyone who doesn't believe that there's a God, you come to me and ask me whether there is a God, and I tell you, because of my unique experience, that God saves. And so we got out. I would like to just stop here because folks are tired and entertain questions.
Thank you
You're welcome, Brother Chair.
very much.
You're welcome.
We are inspired by the acknowledgement of God saved lives during the crisis
Yes.
and thereby saving the life of yourself and your people.
Thank you.
We thank you for making up your mind to come and share this with us,
Thank you.
even after all this time. We'll ask you some questions
Thanks.
so that it presents an opportunity for us to exchange. So you don't hear, no?
Can I turn to them? Can you turn this over?
Okay, so whoever asked the question, Kuma see the bill, we see in order. Kuma will be first. When you finish asking the leave, the next person move there or just. Yeah, you got no question, that's it, but
Please ask me some questions.
Okay, so Mr. Witness, thanks
You're
very
welcome.
much.
You're welcome.
And Kuma will begin, will lead the question.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation you made.
Thank you.
First of all, I just want to know, would you share with us a little bit about the impact of the war directly on your family? For example, did you lose any family members during the course of the war? Brothers, sisters?
Yes.
And children? Anybody die, like starvation? This helps us to
Yes.
just keep record and understanding. And then the second question, just to make everything one package, is I noticed in your testimony you mentioned about Prince Johnson being brought in by Marines from Nimba to Monrovia. Could you elaborate a little bit on that too? That would be my second question.
Thank you. My older brother was captured or taken from his home in Sano. He was in Sibe by a group I think called Lord, a group led by George Boley. LPC, okay, thank you. And he was not killed, but according to the information we received, he was put in a canoe, tied up, put in a canoe, and allowed to go. And since then, he's never been seen.
Tied up. Sorry. Would
Thank
you like to mention his name for us? At least your old-
Ishmael Brown.
Say what's your.
My older brother, he was an electrician. Yeah.
So your father and mother didn't suffer on the
By LPC, right?
The group led by George Boley, I don't remember.
LPC,
Yeah, LPC. Information gathered that my sister, she was killed in Banga.
So, I mean, that has been confirmed. And
Confirmed.
your name, please?
Gurley, Girdley, Kyne.
What year those two incidents took place? Sister Ishmael?
My sister, I think there was 1990, either 92, 93, 94, something like that. Because, you know, you don't actually know until later on you get the information. Because we couldn't go over. And so the information came later. My mother, she fled from the house with just a piece of cloth around her waist. And her house was set afire because she was in Kakata. And she lived in the forest for some 2 years, along with other friends. Fometa Wise Tucker Kyne. Fometa Wise Tucker Kyne.
Your sister was Gertie Kyne?
Yeah, Gertie.
Is she okay today?
My mother?
Yeah.
She's totally depressed. She's being in the United States and going through a lot of treatments. Excluding that, her grandchildren, a lot of them got missing during the war. A lot of them got killed by all factions in the crisis. As for my father, he was carried away by Prince Johnson, a Charles Taylor group, at one time by the EFL, another time by Prince Johnson group, another because he lived somewhere right on the bypass there, and another time by the EFL, and he stayed long in each of those territories, humiliated, predicated upon those events. He took sick. And in the absence of adequate medication and well-trained doctors at the time, he died.
Father's name, please.
Reverend Dr. Malu A. Kyne. Malu A. Kyne.
Please accept our condolences for the widespread painful loss that has occurred in your family.
Oh, thank you.
The last question was certainly about you explaining something about how the Marines may have interfaced to help Prince Johnson move from Nimba into Monrovia.
It is not a thing that I definitely can attest to, but predicated upon information received from individuals who had some association with groups involved. A lot of us got to know that Prince Johnson was assisted by the United States government to have left Banga to have gotten in Caldwell, and from Caldwell he went forth. According to the varied information also, two contradicting information, but that cannot actually be credited, but need to be focused upon and analyzed. That the same group had him somewhere in the shuffle in the between around Kakata, because that the same bypass to Caldwell, all the way from the back coming from Caldwell. And so if that's true, the two versions of the story, that from around Kakata area, the back road, Beaumont's area into Caldwell. That's the version. That yet will have to be authenticated.
Okay, also you mentioned about a VOA massacre.
Yes.
Hundreds of people
Yes.
died.
Yes.
Do you happen to know who did that? Which group was involved in it? And
When I was a VOA, the group that went in the VOA happens to be Prince Johnson Group.
what time, approximately, remember what time of our history that took place? In the 80s? Or?
It was 1989.
You mentioned over 100 persons, you think, died?
Over 100 persons were killed according to the info, because I was at VOA. I was there. I lived there. And those who fled came back with information because I was living in Brewerville, and you could find people coming with tears. You could find them coming crying, telling the story as to what transpired there.
Is it viewing near Kingsburg or viewing near Brewerville?
Brewerville.
Okay, thank you. I'll leave the rest, other questions. for
Oh,
colleagues.
thank you, please. Thanks. Yeah.
Sure. Yes, sir, we do the same here.
You said you are children.
Please move.
Where were you when your children used to leave to go to get food?
I was home.
breakfast?
I sent them to go and beg for food.
Where?
Brewerville.
Oh, Brewerville.
It was the only solution left.
And where are the children now?
They are big boys now in America.
Thank God.
Going, the two of them are out of high school now.
Thank God.
Praise be unto God for that.
You said you were cut off.
No, I don't want to have them caught up in it.
You want to leave them?
No.
You said you were cut off in an ambush.
Yes.
Who set up the ambush? NPFL?
It was not set up
INPFL,
for me.
Yeah.
It was
for
a thing that
AFL.
occurred. I walked into an ambush that was already set up. And so I became the victim,
Yeah.
along with the kids. That was Prince Johnson Group in Brewerville.
Prince Johnson Group were
In that part of
in that part
Brewerville.
of Brewerville.
Yeah. They were there. We didn't know. We went to look for mangoes in order to survive.
How did you get out of there?
Liberia?
No, out of
That
of
area?
the ambush.
Oh, there was a counter attack between Charles Taylor Group attacked that position, and the fighters, in order to consolidate their position and move forward, we had to be set free, and that was an intervention by God, I believe.
In whose custody you were at the time?
No, we're not put into any custody. We were tied up. It
By-
was
by-
just a thing that occurred.
Yeah.
We got there. We were tied up. Few minutes occurred. They got another attack. We were asked to leave.
Okay.
And that's how
When you
it
were
goes.
tied up, who was in control of that area?
Prince Johnson Group.
Prince Johnson. So NPFL came to attack.
Charles Taylor Group.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, NPFL.
You
Yeah.
were able to-
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Thanks a lot.
Mr. Kyne, thank you.
Thanks very well, Chris. Yeah.
You say your father was living on the Capital Bypass area?
Yeah.
You have a brother on the bypass called Friday? Friday Kyne?
Folly.
Friday.
Folly is in Rhode Island.
Now,
He happens to be a brother, but not actually the brother, but a cousin. Yeah,
now that area you were in Brewerville,
yeah.
the incident you described, this was in 1990, right?
1990, I want to believe, yes.
So when ECOMog came, what was the extent of Prince Johnson's control in Brewerville? How far in Brewerville did he control?
At the time ECOMOG came, Prince Johnson controlled the territory as far as Cower Junction, Kunukutan, Douala, Cower Junction. Even during the presence of ECOMOG, Prince Johnson controlled those areas.
Yeah, specifically in the Brewerville area.
In the Brewerville area, Prince Johnson controlled every area.
The whole Brewerville.
The entire Brewerville, prior to the coming of ECOMOG. And even with the presence of ECOMOG simply maintained buffer zones, but they couldn't go into the outskirts of where they were. And so where ECOMOG's presence was limited, the rebels took control.
This is insight, because for a long time, because in 1990, I went around the Hotel Africa area. Prince Johnson was in control.
Yes.
And the information that I had, ECOMOG was based in that area.
Yes.
So the information that I had was that Charles Taylor Group was controlling Brewerville. Now you give me a new insight.
The part of Brewerville that Charles Taylor Group controlled beyond, I think, St. Paul Bridge, St. Paul.
No, it was not even beyond St.
It was thought of.
It was not beyond St. Paul. That's a little village.
Beyond Rick's Institute.
Yeah, beyond. No, not beyond Ray Institute. As soon as you come from VOA Junction, that settlement that you come.
Yes, that's
That church.
Jatono Town?
No,
that's-
you pass Jatono
Because-
Junction.
that's what I'm
To
saying.
that village. I mean, that's a town, but you have big churches.
That's
Like Lakiri, who was in control of Lakiri? Prince Johnson?
Prince Johnson Halakiri. But beyond Rick's Institute,
As MPFL.
Charles Taylor Group,
Yeah, beyond Rick.
beyond Rick's Institute,
Oh, okay.
all the way. Okay, beyond Mementan. Okay, Mementan.
It was closure.
Charles Taylor, yes, but they had a kind of V connection. So you could have Charles Taylor Group right here, just right here, but at the same time they were spread all the way in. So it was not a thing that they had a unique setting. They had themselves in a kind of V movement.
So, who was the commander in that area at the time? The Prince Johnson commander?
No, I don't know.
You don't
I don't know. I don't know the commander.
And what kind of atrocities did you witness in that area by Prince Johnson at the time?
One of the things that I witnessed was that I couldn't leave the house, but one time I decided I stayed too long in, and ECOMOG, I believed, had provided the necessary security according to my belief, and so I decided to leave the house. Walk from Brewerville all the way to Douala Market. So I was going to buy, how they call the stuff, the kind of fish, man. The popular fish they had on the market at that time. Mackerel. Because it's one of the fish that I used to like eating. What other way to the same fish. And I went all the way, and I met a friend while walking. Got some fish and got some other things, and we decided to go back to Brewerville. Right on the bridge. I think St. Paul Bridge, because the bridge that divides Douala from going into Virginia.
St. Paul.
That's St. Paul Bridge, okay. There, the fighters from Prince Johnson were just hitting folks with a gun, beating a whole lot of folks. And there, the superintendent, one of the superintendents of the Pentecostal churches, I really can't remember his name, but I can describe him: fat, not too fat, but good build, tall, bright. And then he said to them, "Gentlemen, why is it that you guys who say that you have come to liberate the people are doing what you're doing? It is not good. Stop doing that." So I am of the opinion that as he saw them hitting folks, the civilian, beating them with the guns and what have you, he was walking along with his wife, and then he was just a part of a little group that they were coming to hit again, and then so he held on to the gun, And he said, no, don't do that. Has a means of advising, trying to come in to negotiate. Right where I heard, oh, this man is on reconnaissance, this man is here with different intention, this man is so, oh, he's our enemy. They started fighting. He and the other soldiers started fighting with a gun. Some of them got on him, on his bike. They sent for reinforcement. His wife was standing by my side. I didn't know his wife that well. I knew him because by virtue at the time that I was a member of what they call the Credo. Credo provided books and other little things. And since at the time I worked at the Ministry of Education as Director for Non-Governmental Programs, I was then a member automatically of that body. And so I associated with him, but at a limited level. And so I saw the whole thing happening. Took him, and more than 25 soldiers opened fire on him at the same time. And all that we saw as we stood there, seeing the lifeless body going over the bridge into the St. Paul River. His wife, when that happened, his wife immediately almost went crazy. I didn't want to even stand by her for a second. You guys know what would have happened to me. I left because there was nothing within my power I could have done. I just walked out. In fact, I went to New Crew Town, slept in New Crew Town. That evening, I didn't go back because when that happened, they prevented civilians from going across the bridge.
You don't remember the name of the superintendent?
No. But anyone who knows, he's from Lofa, anyone who knows about a superintendent within the Pentecostal churches who was missing or cannot be accounted for, I think will be able to address the situation and identify name.
Excuse me, this was Prince Johnson's fighters?
No, yes. And so that's how he died. I don't know. One Bill used to be at the Ministry of Education. He was the Chief Education Officer for Monrovia County. I think he may know him because we were all close together. The two of them were close together. I really don't know his name.
You're not talking about Bill Harris.
Bill Harris will really know him because he and Bill were always together. Because Bill at the time was CEO, County Education Officer for the schools.
You mentioned that when you walked into this ambush in search of food, you were tied and then shooting broke out.
Yes.
Who untied you? Were you tabed?
We were tied, not tied to the extent that we couldn't have ourselves loosed up, okay? We were tied. They were about to go ahead. Hardman Sunday had been tied, but it was a thing that I could just loosen. If you are in a desperate situation, you have desperate means of getting things done. And so, although I was tied, but I was told to go, and my children were also there, I had to do something to untie myself, having been told go, to let go of myself and the kids. And so it was a thing that I just forced out and go. I can't really explain. Certain things beyond explanation.
How old were your sons at the time?
One was, at the time, just 1.5 years old. The other was just two plus months. And we ran. And that's why they went through.
And only while you were there, did you see Prince Johnson?
If you had to put Prince Johnson in front of me, I don't know him. No. I did everything I could to steer away.
Now, were you still in Brewerville during Octopus?
No, I was in the United States, I think, by that time.
Octopus was 1992.
1992?
Yes.
Yes, I was in Brewerville.
What was your experience like during that time?
Gunshots rained on the houses like to say you had thunders coming from all over. Blah, 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 blah. And in the evening, you could see them, you could see bullets flying. Has to say birds were moving in columns. And our homes were rattled with bullets. All we could do was to go down on the floor, sleep beneath the floors. I don't know how to even say it, but on your face, it on the floor, crawled on the floor, in order to be saved. It was not an easy thing. It was not an easy thing we experienced.
Besides the killing of this superintendent, this pastor,
Yeah.
did you witness any other atrocities?
No, I didn't see any other thing.
And after that incident, how did such a traumatic incident impact on your kids? Did they experience any kind of adverse reactions as a result of what
Yes,
they went through?
they were traumatized. They were shot at night, shake, stubborn. And so when they came to the United States, a lot of work was done. They had to go through a lot. At the time I was at Harvard going to school, so we tried to get all the necessary health care for them. And they went through, they had the necessary health care that anyone will have. But even though they had all that, it is yet a problem for them. They have not actually overcome it, what they saw.
And you say your brother was killed by LPC.
Yes.
Is this, you're talking about eyewitness accounts from people who were in the area?
People who were in the area, who later on informed us, they didn't say he was killed, but he was tied up,
Placed in the Kyne.
placed in the Kyne on the Sano River,
Or seabed.
seabed, and allowed the water, the Kyne to go on seabed river. If anyone here has, if you've been to Sano River,
We held hearings in Sinai.
okay, you know Sano River, and you know the current of that river. And there he was placed to go. And since then, we never heard from him.
And who did this witness report was in charge of the group that did that? Is there any commander name?
They tried to identify, to connect some names, and some faces, but
Can you remember any of the names they gave you?
no, not definitely, no.
And this was in which year? 1994?
Before 1994. Before 1994. It was on the onset when he happened to be a crewman, okay, and it was on a travel line at the same time. According to information, he didn't want to get involved in being a fighter and what have you. Oh, I really can say, okay, I really can say. And that's how he died. And my mother has to go through that every day, even though she's with me in Rhode Island. I have to just keep on hawking her every day.
And your mother was in the CBI at the time?
My mother was, no, she was in Kakata.
Or she was in Kakata?
Yeah, Kakata.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank you.
Mr. Pajibo,
Yes.
thank you very much
You're welcome, thank you.
for sharing your experience, and we say sorry for what's happened to
Thank
your
you.
relatives during the course of the conflict.
Thank you.
Now you talk about your children.
Yes.
They were so young, 2 years and 3 years.
1.5, 2 years plus. You know, we just got them bang bang.
But did you mention,
think it's on
You
TV.
didn't mention anything about the mother. Is she okay? Did anything
The
happen?
mother is fine. The mother is fine. And because of her, we are alive today. She became the breadwinner. She used to go out when it was time to look for their food. We look for food. She became a businesswoman. In fact, she would go to Cape Town, but my mother is from Cape Town. She would go to Cape Town and get some foodstuffs. Come and sell the foodstuffs at the Douala market. And through that, after a while, we began to live. But she too had to go, she had to crawl. She had to go through a lot. She went through a lot. She went through a lot in order to have us where we are today. If it had not been for her, I wouldn't be where I am today. I would have died. Because I couldn't get out there to look for food any longer. When that happened, I decided to stay away. In fact, the trees were gone. There were no more trees with plums. The trees that were there, folks went to work and made coal out of them until ecomog came, and then until the presence of ecomog, we began to have the relief. How do you call it? Self-food relief. Okay, and let me confess, the very first day I got that bench, I ate like I don't know. As some folks said to me, I was blessed. I didn't die because they say you eat a lot of it. I ate until I had my shirt open. I fed my sons, and I don't know. I did the cooking out there. And I read it. I can tell anyone what happened. I ate. I cooked. Oh man! I didn't look for a spoon. I ate with my hands. Bam, bam, bam. So man, I was looking like a wild animal. Oh, thank you.
And thank you very much for that information.
You're welcome.
And you said you're a clinical psychologist?
Oh, I got a certificate in that.
Okay, and I mean, just your mother, you say your mother is here.
My mother is in America.
Oh, she's here.
I have 2 master's degrees.
Okay.
One in social science and one in rights and justice, looking at religion and what have you.
And you say as a result of the war, your mother is kind of depressed.
She is depressed, but her depression brought about high blood pressure.
Okay.
And then her heart. She has more than 6 medications that she has to take every day. Now,
Is she talking about it, her experience now, or she's still?
I don't like to have her talk about it. She talks about it, but I try to go in because the more I give her a chance to talk about it, the more I will have to deal with it again with her. I don't like to go over it. And when we sit down, she talks about it.
But don't you think that would be good for her to work with some other person besides you?
No, that's what I'm saying. She's gone through a lot already. She's gone through counseling.
Okay.
She's gone through a lot. But you're talking about a mother.
I know.
And the ones that I'm talking about happen to be my oldest and older. So I'm the only one she looks up to now. And so I don't like to hear her trying to go through it. Because when she begins to go through it, I go through it, then I have to come and deal with her. It is a visual cycle thing. Even though she's gone through counseling, it is yet a problem for her. It is still up to date. It's a problem.
So your brother that died, he had children?
Oh, a lot.
And where are they?
A lot of them are in Liberia. They are in Liberia. Some were killed, as I said. Some got missing. They haven't been found. And other relatives and friends also died during the whole thing. Some got on board the ship and got drowned. Running to Nigeria at that time.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for your eloquence. I sat in there and I listened to your questions. I said, my God, she's a genius.
Hold on,
Am I still on camera?
Not me.
I don't have questions.
No questions. Yes. The result.
A little bit tired.
Well, Mr. Witness,
Thank you, Brother Chair.
yeah. I want to thank you
You're welcome.
for coming to share this experience with us.
Yeah.
People don't know, but most of the time when witnesses share their experience, it resonates in our minds because we had almost similar experiences.
Yeah.
I was in that area during that time.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and I could relate very well to it. So we say thank you. And your testimony has shown further light on what happened in that area.
Yes.
That's why he asked specifically about octopus,
Yes.
because we've gotten bit and pieces. And by coming, you've added additional information to fill in some of the gaps.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. And the testimony has just ended.
Oh, thank you. Thank you kindly. I appreciate your kindness.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to tell us? Advice or whatsoever?
Oh,
before you
my
leave?
advice is this. We need peace that will last. But in order to arrive at lasting peace, there will have to be some confession. Folks will have to admit their guilt, their wrongs. A lot of folks will have to come and tell the Liberian people what roles they play. Then they come asking for healing, asking for forgiveness. Without that, I, as an individual, found it difficult for us to attain peace. When you who have committed a crime against the people will ask for reconciliation and you cannot admit your wrong you've done, you cannot look at the folks in the face and say, at the time, looking at the circumstances we had, these things had to be done. Now that I or we can reflect, we ask for forgiveness. Then the healing process will be genuine. Another thing that I see with the nation in the process of healing is that if our government, if people will heal, if we will rebuild, those who will be employing will be leaders. Must not just employ anybody. That's one of the problems I'm seeing as far as I sit here. Not because the man is from America, he comes with a master's degree, you don't even know what school he even graduated from. He's put in the classroom to teach or he's there to rehabilitate when he doesn't have the skills to do the work. At that rate, we are revisiting the wounds and we are developing a community, a generation of ignorance again. Half the man here, he never did 1 + 1. But he's sending into the classroom to be the teacher to teach 1 + 1 because he has a degree. Folks the leadership there must be very careful. When the man leaves from the place and goes home with a degree, these schools are here, call the school. Another thing again that I found detrimental to the growth and development of the nation is that there are a lot of mushroom colleges that have come up. if we are not careful as a nation, all these folks will have come forth, will have gone to these colleges, graduated with the notion or the basic understanding that they are educated, whereby they are not. Look, let us look at the social problems the nation will be faced with these individuals who think they have attained education when they have not. It is a social problem that folks may not see now, but will have long-term effect upon the nation. Because these are the same ones that will be governing.
Yeah.
These are the same ones that will be impacting and giving instructions. How will they hinder the redevelopment, the healing of the wounds of the nation when they themselves have not exposed themselves to land? But they are the ones. And so my recommendation is, man comes from the United States, man comes from anywhere here, don't just see that paper, call the school. Call the school. Another thing that I'm bad about, who are those in those multiple of universities or colleges back home? Where are the teachers coming from that are passing on instruction? Where are the teachers coming from? What are the laboratories they have? What library do they have? What? We are looking at how to reconcile, because one of the reasons the whole thing started has to do with illiteracy. If the general public had the education that should be there, folks would not have brainwashed them. If the healing must go on, if we won't have to revisit what happened, we must begin to look at every angle of our society and build up and patch. And one of the areas that I found to be against the growth and development is education. So my recommendation is, not everybody who comes with a paper must be accepted into the evils. Let the authority there sit down. Where did this man go to school? How was his discipline? Even look at his GPA. That's my recommendation. That's how I see the building of the nation. That's how I see reconciliation coming forth. We are going back to Barclay time. We shouldn't do that. If the healing must go on, healing has to go in every angle.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I won't talk too much, and I rest my case.
How often do you preach?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks. I am blessed to be a part of this.
Yeah, you are very patient to wait until we have this set up here.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thanks to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.